in the world.
What's up, friends? My name is Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. You can call me whatever you want. Welcome to Sunday Q&A. We're gonna be opening some FPV crates here today. 6 of them to be exact from the last 3 months. And And what else are we doing? We'll do some other stuff. It's a Q&A stream, so fill the chat up with any questions that you've got, and we'll talk about them. And I got like 2 more screws to put in on this rig. I have a gig tomorrow that I'm home charging some batteries and getting my stuff together for. And yeah, the gig tomorrow is at University of Georgia. Should be pretty fun. At some building with a absolutely ridiculous name. This is the rig that I blew up at Rampage in Micro Mayhem on a big, dumb, failed power loop attempt. And I blew up both of the rear ducts. I'm sorry, not both of the rear ducts, just one of the rear ducts. But the arms held, which is pretty awesome. So, yeah. Cinesplore is a little basher, man. It's a little basher. In the chat, Apache Smokewood, Apache Smokewood, the Sniper was first, Family Guy was next, Shopper FPV, Ring Zero, Nardog, Dan636, Aircon, Family Guyver, T-Bird, Fargo 252, Espander, Dusty Joe, Apache Smoke again, Yella Captain, Family Guyver again, Rob Axis and License to Drive, Martin Wynn, S. Grace, Athix. I'm gonna leave it there. If you want the gangly man to say your name, you gotta get in early, you gotta say things. If you want to talk directly to me, all you gotta do is type CiottiFPV into the chat. When you do so, it'll light up like this in orange, so that I'll know that you're talking to me. If you don't do that, I'll assume that you're talking amongst yourselves. Which you should do, because the people in the chat are goddamn brilliant. Oh, new Teespring merch. That's the other thing that we're going to talk about today. One of which I'm wearing right now. It's not really new merch. It's been up on the Teespring store, but I haven't had any. Although there is one thing that has been out of stock that we're going to take a look at. Apache Smoke Wooden Sniper. Why can't I say things? Apache Smoke Wooden Sniper tagged me and said, "Good evening, how are you doing, friend? What's up, FPV family? I crashed and broke my frame, so now I finally ordered the Glide." Cinesplore frames, you're gonna love them, Apache. Family Guyver says, "What's up, collective?" T-Bird says, "Hey, good looking." Fargo 252 says, "What's up? Thunderstorm just passed through, so I'm on my way to fly." Very cool. Ring Zero says, "Hey." Yellow Captain says, "How you doing?" Rob Axison says, "Hello, gangly man." He also says, "JB is also live now." Apple Juice FPV says, "Been a while since I caught the stream. Good to be back. Hope all's well with you." All is very well, Apple Juice. Glad to have you back, my friend. Rob Axelson says, "Got out early today. Burns 18 packs. Jesus." Ring Zero says, "NASA t-shirt. I see a true nerd right there." Goddamn right you do. Rob Axelson says, there's good reason that the merry band of followers here on my channel and my Patreon and all that good stuff, I call the collective. I grew up on I grew up watching Next Generation with my dad. Rob Axelson says, "UJA National Champs Go Dogs." Yep. Bob Noxious says, "What's up, collective and Ciotti?" Goody FPV says, "What's up?" Caught up on chat. Look at that. Teespring stuff. First and foremost is this shirt. There's like a dozen different colors that you can get it in. This is like the sky blue color, and I don't know. I think this is the right color to get it in. But there's a couple other really cool colors. I almost got it in white. It looks really good in white. Then there's the, speaking of the collective, there's the collective shirt, and I don't know. I feel like you got to get this one in green, right? Like this is just a shirt that needs to be green to honor the Borg. This is what I'm really excited about, though, to be really honest with you guys. The tote bag is back in stock, and it's got the Hoonigan rip-off Kill All Carbon on the one side, and then the New School logo on the other side. I don't know if it's just me or what, but these tote bags here, like the fabric that they're made of, the props don't, cut through. And for whatever reason, I always find that I've got like 1 or 2 extra things that I want to bring with me to a gig or to the field to fly that don't necessarily fit in my flight bag. And these are just so, this is my favorite thing, to carry that extra stuff in. So yeah, you can snag yourself a Kill All Carbon tote bag, and then you'll have a spot to put all your broken carbon in, so that, you know, this is where you get all your carbon fiber splinters rather than your flight bag. So yeah, there's the new Teespring merch. Rub that bag to your face. Not a chance. The bags stink. I just got it out of the mail, so they've got that, you know, China smell on them, which does go away. But I mean, it should go away. It goes away on everything else that I buy from Amazon, so I don't see why it wouldn't go away on this one. Even though I didn't buy this on Amazon. Alright, yeah, this thing is good to go. Cool! Ah! Hold on. Where are we at here? So, yesterday's stream was a complete nightmare. Was that yesterday? No, that was 2 days ago. Yesterday was great. I had a fucking great day yesterday, hanging out with Maggie and the kiddos. Friday's stream was a total nightmare, though. The stream started off with YouTube being a dick and tons of dropped frames, and then it automatically created another stream with the wrong name, and then the bag is large enough to carry a severed human arm, as long as you bend it at the elbow. Yeah, and then eventually I got the stream going, but then it was like 2 frames a second because the laptop can't handle it. And then I just did a terrible job troubleshooting that Mobula 6. I had put the Meteor 65 frame. I had put those motors onto it, and the props onto the motors like a month ago, and yeah, I just didn't realize that I'd put like. Basically what I did is I put clockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, counterclockwise for some strange reason. And I was rushing through the troubleshoot and the setup, and I just didn't notice it. And man, that was an interesting behavior that it was exhibiting, which I hadn't seen before. And, you know, at this point, almost 6 years in, I've kind of seen it all. So, man, it was a very weird troubleshoot. And yeah, it all went to hell. But in the end, you know, those motors were only the 19,000s, which is super frustrating. I think, what's today, Sunday? I think maybe tomorrow, I don't know what's going on. I have that gig in Athens tomorrow. Athens is close to Lawrenceville, or Decula rather, where Maggie is. So after this stream, I'm heading up to Maggie's because I gotta be at this gig at 8:30 tomorrow morning, which is just awful. And yeah, it's a 45-minute less drive from Maggie's place. So I'm scrambling around to get everything charged up here and to get everything. Hopefully, I can grab everything that I need. And then I'll hit that gig in the morning, and tomorrow afternoon, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know if I'm going to go back to Maggie's and try to stream again from there, or if I'm going to come all the way back here. Yeah, it's just, it's rough to stream from there, because the laptop is 6 years old, and OBS is, yeah, whatever. So don't know what tomorrow night's stream is going to be. Maybe it'll be tiny whooping around the best tiny whoop spot ever. Maybe it'll be here doing some repairs, because man, I broke a lot of stuff at Rampage. So you'll have to subscribe to my channel to find out. This is my full-time job. If you'd like to support the madness that is trying to be a full-time FPV pilot, head on over to CiottiFPV.com, hit the Patreon link. That helps me out the most. $3 whole a month will get you on board with the collective, and ton of benefits. You're going to love it. It's well worth 10 cents a day. There's also a Teespring store with some really fun t-shirts, an Etsy store with some really fun stickers, and a bunch of M2 hardware that you might need for your next micro build. There's a Fiverr page where you can work with me one-on-one. I love distilling down 6 years of knowledge into bite-sized chunks, so that, you know, if you're 6 months into the hobby, within like a half an hour, it's as if you're a year into the hobby. You know, if 6 months worth of knowledge is not worth 40 or $80 or whatever it is over there, I don't know what is. So yeah, get yourself ahead of the game a little bit. I would love to help you out. I can help you fly better, build better, tune better. When I say build better, what I mean is buy the right parts. You know, you buy one $80 ESC that's a piece of crap and blows up. I'm looking at you, Hobbywing. And yeah, an entire hour's worth of one-on-one Q&A would have been paid for. Not to mention the time that it took you to put that thing in, and hopefully it didn't shoot fireballs and burn your ESC and everything else. So, yeah, lots of good stuff going on over there. And then there's a whole bunch of affiliate links. Next time you're placing an FPV order, think about your gangly buddy. Maybe I have an affiliate link. FPVCrate, Get FPV, FPV Cycle, a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of affiliate links over there. Amazon, if you're ever ordering anything from Amazon, yeah, it's 1 to 6%. If you click my affiliate link before you check out, I will get 1 to 6% of your entire shopping cart. It's free money. It doesn't affect you in any way. You can still use all your coupons, free shipping, all that nonsense. Rob Axelson says, do you have an RDQ affiliate link yet? Nope. They are uninterested in giving me an affiliate link, unfortunately. TweetFPV says, yo, what's up, CiottiFPV and the rest of the baddest collective around? What's going on, Tweet? Good to have you here, Dan. If you guys aren't subscribed to TweetFPV, I'm going to beat you with 2 hammers, not just one. When one of them gets covered in effluvia, I'm going to switch to the other one. Oh, God, that's such a horrible word. Bob Knox just dropping some links. Thank you, dude. Let's open some FPV crates, yo. These are going to be completely out of order because I got them all mixed up. So let's do this. Let's open all 3 of the sub 250 crates first, and then we'll move on to the 5-inch crates next. And of course, again, this is a Q&A stream, so fill the chat up with any questions that you guys have, and we'll talk about them. God knows what month this is. It's either this month, the month before, or the month before that. This is the most recent one, I'm pretty sure, because there's Johnny FPV artwork in it. Does it not say what the month is? This is May's box, so I'm gonna put this one aside. Not in a random order. Random order for the initial, like, me look at it, and then me figure it out. Here we go. This is March's box. All right, so we're somewhat in order. Looks like this is a heavy lift-ish box. There's a whole bunch of heavy lift artwork here on the little sticker sheet. Do you even heavy lift? Bruh. Look at that. That's a cool little propeller with the looking like a balsa. What if we had balsa wood propellers? Can you imagine? Coupon code for FPVCrate, of course. So we've got some HQ props here. These are they are not labeled. HQ, come on, man. Put a sticker on your prop bags, for Christ's sakes. Let me get all piratey real quick here. Hold on. Oh, very cool. These are the 3.5-inch props. 3.5 by 2 by 3 HQ props. Awesome. That's nice to have another propeller option. Although 3.5 by 2, that's less pitchy than the Gemfans, isn't it? So the Emax Avan 3.5s that I really like are 2.8 pitch. The Gemfans, I don't have a set of it. Where the hell are the Gemfans? Well, I think the Gemfans are like a 2.4 pitch, and then these are an even lower pitch. That's interesting. Why would they do a lower pitch? 3.5 by 2. That's a really low pitch. That's like toothpick territory. Is there a 3.5-inch toothpick frame? That doesn't make any sense. 3-inch toothpick barely makes any sense. It kind of makes more sense to do a 2.5-inch toothpick. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what you would use this prop on. This is not. Arazi B says Gemfan 3520. Okay, so the Gemfans are the exact same pitch. Typically, when you've got an HQ prop and a Gemfan prop that are the same pitch, typically the Gemfan prop actually makes more thrust because the airfoil shape that Gemfan uses is almost always more efficient and just like more thrusty. You can see it if you just look at them. Like when you look at HQ props, the shape of the blade of the prop looks like a 8-year-old designed it. And then when you fly them, you can hear it in the air. Like HQ props are almost always louder than Gemfan props, just because, you know, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose. I don't know, maybe if it has something to do with durability. HQ props are known for their durability, so maybe this sort of old school, simple aerofoil shape is more durable. I doubt it. In my experience, durability is just the weight of the prop. However heavy the prop is, the heavier the prop is, the more durable it is, because there's more plastic to, you know, be more durable. So yeah, there's that. But hey, we've only had 2 3.5-inch prop options up until this point, and with how impossible it tends to be to find stuff in stock, this is a really good thing. So if you're a diehard HQ prop person, yeah, these probably won't perform quite as good as the Gemfans, but they perform fine. You know, they probably perform fine. I have not flown these. I don't know if I will fly these, if I'm totally honest. But yeah, I'm sure they're totally fine. The other thing that I've seen a bunch with HQ props that I do worry about is their balance. They're typically not as well balanced as Gemfan props. But most of the time, they're well balanced enough that they don't cause you problems. So there you go. I'm gonna throw those over there with the other 3.5-inch props. And then we've also got a JHE MCU EM 40 amp. Jesus, 40 amp 4-in-1 2 to 6S ESC. Looks like it's got a big ass capacitor in there. Let's get it opened up real quick here. Take a quick look. JHE MCU seems to make pretty damn good electronics. Yeah, there's a big ass 35 volt 1000 UF capacitor in here. Jesus, that's a lot for a micro 20x20 ESC. Take a quick look at this guy here. Yeah. Okay. So we've got pads all the way out on the edge. I like that. The pads even have the through holes, which I also really like. The positive and negative battery leads have that slot in them there. That's pretty slick. I do actually dig that. The slot is a little thin for most battery wires that you're going to run. But what's nice about the slot is it lets the solder kind of seep in there and it gets really strong. They've also got a couple of holes here for a capacitor on the outside of those pads, and I like that as well. The JHE MCU knows what's up. They've also got pads here on the bottom for if you don't want to use this plug header, or if this plug header ever breaks off. And I really dig that as well. The one thing that I can see with this board that I don't love, and this is probably why they give you such a big capacitor, is they don't have many capacitors on the board. These little rectangular guys are the capacitors that seem to do the majority of the work. And we've only got 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top here, and then on the bottom we've got 5, 6, and then we've got 7, 8, 9, but these are the really, really small ones. These big guys, what I've found is that when I buy an ESC like the Acons, and they have a whole bunch of these big rectangular guys, I'm talking like 20, 25, 30, those ESCs tend to be very quiet electrically, and they also tend to be very durable. So yeah, my guess is with this ESC, it's going to be really important to use either this capacitor that they gave you, or just as big of a capacitor as possible. With micro stuff, I always recommend, with like, you know, so this is a micro, in my opinion, this is a micro specific ESC. It doesn't have a big thick PCB. Everything is crammed together. The FETs are the small FETs. It's nice and lightweight. There are 20x20 ESCs that are like $60, $70, $80, and they're big beefy bitches. They got big old motor pads on them. They're big thick PCBs. A lot of times they have a big old heat sink on the top. those are typically 20 by 20 ESCs that are meant for 5-inch rigs. Where you can tell by the cost that when you're shopping for ESCs, there's a big difference in cost. You'll find ESCs like this one that are like $40, $50, sometimes even $30, and then there'll be another crop of 20 by 20 ESCs that are like $60, $70, $80. The more expensive ESCs are for 5-inch rigs. This ESC right here is an example of one that's better suited for a micro. If you keep this ESC on 4S or 3S, you might not need that external capacitor. If you run this on 5 or 6S though, I can almost guarantee you're going to need to put a big old capacitor on it to keep things clean. So there you go. And to be honest, with a micro, if you're building a proper micro and you're trying to save the weight that this is going to save you over a big fat 5-inch ESC, there's really no, with a micro drivetrain, there's little to no benefit from going above 4S. 4S does not create enough amperage that creates enough heat to benefit from 5S or 6S. And there's actually a lot of negatives to running 5S and 6S on a little micro setup here. Namely that it's really hard on it. Like those 5 and 6S batteries will kill this ESC, in my experience, pretty quickly. Of course, unless you've got the big old capacitor on it and whatnot. So yeah, 4S for life, in my opinion, on micros. It just makes a lot more sense. Plus, you can get a battery that's a higher mAh. One of the other things with the running like 6S on a micro is like if you're doing a sub 250 micro, for example, you're going to need to buy the smallest mAh 6S battery that exists. And those smaller cells, like 350 mAh, for example, they don't perform all that well. So yeah, it tends to be better to stay 4S, and then you can run like a 650 mAh or an 850 mAh battery, and they perform amazingly well. That's what I run on all of my Cinesplores that I've done all kinds of work with in a professional setting, and yeah, they kick ass. They're really, really, really good, and I'm pretty diehard into them. So, Bob Knox just dropping some links. Thank you, dude. Athix says 3S 660 at 50 grams or 2S 525 at 42 for TP3. 2S, in my opinion, TP3 you want to keep as light as possible, and they're super, super, super efficient. So yeah, I would go 2S and keep the weight down. Plus, the TP3 frame is very fragile, so every gram that you can possibly save is going to really help with durability. Not only is the TP3 frame very fragile, but the motors that you're going to be running on there are going to have either a 1.5 or 2 millimeter motor shaft below the bell, and that's going to be super fragile as well. So keeping the weight down is really, really, really going to help with durability. When you get your FPVCrate boxes, if you turn them inside out like I just did, they're a color, and you can Sharpie marker like flight controllers onto it, and then you can put all your flight controllers in here and get your disgusting build area organized. I'm talking to you. I'm talking to all of you. My God, what a struggle it is to keep the build area organized. Look at that. See that? And now you can line all these guys up on your little shelf like I have over there. You can't really see it. And yeah, have some semblance of organization. What do you think of that? Next box is hold on. Garter Rotor says, speaking of props, any recommendations for a pitchy prop for a Porky 3-inch, 3-blade, or even 4? Prop recommendations depend on a lot of different things. Where you're flying, what you're flying, how hard you crash, how often you crash. Is the motor T-mount? Is the motor M5 nut? If it's an M5 mount, prop mount motor, the T-motor 3140 is pretty brilliant. Also, size of the motors also makes a huge difference. If it's T-mount, my current go-to is the Dow 3028. Although I did hear from somebody that they had a balancing problem with those Dow props. I've tested a bunch of them since then, and they've been totally fine. So I don't know if that was just a bad batch. Usually it's not. Usually it's not a bad batch. Usually, like, if a prop is out of, like, from what I've seen in HQ props, like, if they're out of balance, they're out of balance. The whole run is. But, you know, it could be anything. So those are two of my favorites. Although you said pitchy, I mean, the pitchiest option for a T-mount is the Gemfan 3052. So you could do those if you're looking for something super pitchy. Hopefully it's an M5 mount motor though, because then you can run the T-motor 3140, which is a very beefy prop. The fact that it's a beefy prop is going to help with the fact that you said that rig is heavy. All of the other micro props are really going to struggle with a heavy rig. They're gonna just bend up to hell pretty easily. Michael Blade says, "Hey, Bob Noxious says, how'd you know I was cleaning my herb today?" Nice. All right, so we're into. Oh, that's pretty slick. We're into April. This is, I think, the April box. Maybe it's the March box. Very cool artwork on this one. Some Back to the Future jams. Hey, the flight footage at the beginning of the stream, that was from a FPV time. Speaking of time machines, that was from an FPV time machine edit called, like, I don't know, Charlotte or something like that. It's been up on the channel for a while. You can check out the rest of the edit if you want. Well, that was like raw flight footage from it. We've got some more HQ props. We've got 3 by 2.5 by 3. Unfortunately, in my experience, these props are not balanced. So be careful with these 3 by 2.5 by 3s. In theory, maybe they've fixed them. I highly doubt it. Usually, when they make a mold, they knock out a ton of props all at once. And if they're unbalanced, like these have been for me, the mold is the problem. The mold is no good. I have run these props on 3 separate occasions over the last few years since they came out, and they've all been out of balance, unfortunately. So yeah, I guess maybe I'll give these another shot, but be wary. And then we've got some motors. We've got some Flash Hobby 2004 3600 kV. Love the kV on these. Just be careful with these Flash Hobby motors. Sometimes they will come right out of the box a little bit grindy. Let's check one real quick. I assume that it's a bearing problem. I assume that they're using cheap bearings, but the ones that I've tested have been totally fine. Yeah, see, this is totally fine. What I love about these motors is that they have a What I love about these motors is that they have a screw to hold the bell on, not a stupid ass C-clip. This is also a domed motor on top, so you can use the you can run the Emax 3.5-inch props and they'll clear. So yeah, this is a good motor. Just be a little bit careful. Make sure you spin it by hand and make sure that it's spinning nice and freely when you get them out of the package, and then away you go. They're a pretty cool color too. They're this like olive grab green color, which is pretty cool. Hold on. Good looking motor. And this is the right KV, in my opinion. 3600, 3500 kV for a 2004 will allow you to run it on 4S, and then you can run it on like a 5-blade Cinewoop prop, or even a 3-blade Cinewoop prop, or you can run it on like a 3.5-inch propeller, even a 3-inch propeller like the Gemfan 3052 would run really well on this. So very, very cool KV on this motor. Not many of the 2004s are this high of a KV. Most of them are 3000 KV, which is just barely enough, but with how beautiful motor limiting works in Betaflight, there's no reason to not buy a higher KV at this point. you're only screwing yourself over by not buying a higher KV and then motor limiting it down a little bit. And yeah, 3600 KV is the correct KV to do that with, to do a little bit of a small motor limit down. Gardo Rotor says T-mount, LOL. Yeah, so if you're T-mount, you want the Gemfan 3052, Gardo. That is the pitchiest of the T-mount 3-inch propellers. All right, get this box put together upside down, just for the sake of doing it. What's up, chat? Who's building? Who's building in chat right now? Who's just listening? I'm gonna disrupt you from building and make you come back to the keyboard and tell me what you're building. Anybody doing Rampage repairs still? I've been so Maggie started her doctorate program this week, which is wild. And like once a month, I think, or maybe once every other month, they go on a retreat where they all hang out for like 3-4 days straight. So I was at the house taking care of the kiddos all week, and that's why I haven't gotten any Rampage repairs done. But man, it was such a I had such a good time this week. It's just, yeah, it's just it feels good to take care of other human beings and to somehow just like be able to do it without being a total failure. So yeah, this is a really cool week, and end of July, this is gonna be my life, and I just can't wait, and I'm a lucky dude. I'm a very, very lucky dude. So this is a really cool week. Jay Barnes is still doing some Rampage repairs. There we go. I knew somebody had to be still repairing some stuff. This is the current Get FPV box that was just sent to me with a whole bunch of Johnny FPV artwork and winks and nods. Here's the sticker sheet. There you go. Johnny has been a Lumineer Get FPV sponsored pilot, like kind of forever. So there you go with that. And you know, FPVCrate is a part of Get FPV basically. We've got some props. There we go. Look at that. So we've got the proper 3.5-inch props. Although I got to be honest, I actually like the Emax Avan 3.5-inch props. Even though I'm sponsored by Gemfan, I wish that these had a little bit more pitch to them, which the Emax Avans do. They're a 28 pitch. These are still a great propeller though. If I'm not using those, or if I want a little bit more efficiency, these are my go-to. These are the props that I was flying on the American Crit Cup live stream event that I flew, and yeah, these were absolutely fantastic. And they sent them the right color, which is awesome. So some purple 3.5s there. I'm actually gonna save this sticker sheet. That's a pretty cool one. What do we have in here? So we've got a frame in here, it looks like, by Axis. Would you look at this? This is a little miniature. Ooh, this is pretty cool. This is a little miniature Manta, I think, is Dr. Mantis Toboggan. Where's all my It's Always Sunny fans? Mantis Toboggan. This would appear to be a little mini mantis. Manta. It sure is. Manta 3.5-inch freestyle frame. Look at that. So we got the 5-inch Manta a couple months ago. Now we get the 3.5-inch Manta. This is pretty cool. I am gonna weigh this though. There are a lot of parts and pieces in here. This could be kind of a heavy frame. Let's get it on the scale and see what's up. The 5-inch Manta was a gorgeous frame. Just like, yeah, just a really pretty frame. No feedback whatsoever on how it crashes or how it flies or anything like that, but it was admittedly a very, very good looking frame. So let's see what we got here. There's the top and bottom plate. Here are the arms. Looks like the arms are drilled for 9x9 and 12x12. Just the carbon is 38.3 grams, which I gotta admit is kind of heavy. And then we've got a bunch of like custom cut aluminum stuff. Yes, it's in the bag, which is not really fair, but now we're up to 59.2 grams. So this is gonna be a heavy frame. That's without battery straps, that's without any TPU, that's without any of this hardware. I guess just for the sake of argument, let's throw some of the hardware on here. Again, they're in the plastic bag, so this isn't super fair, but now we're up to 75 grams. That's a lot. God knows what these plastic bags weigh. My guess would be maybe 5 or 10 grams, so now we're down to 65 grams. That's still kind of a lot. Although this is probably a double 20x20 frame. Yeah, it is. So this is a double 20x20 frame. We've got 20x20 in the back here, probably for a Vista. And then in the center, it looks like we've got 20x20 as well as maybe 30x30, maybe 25x25. There's another set of holes out here. I would think that these holes out... No, these are the holes... Yeah, I don't know. Tell me in the instructions. Stack mounting, 20x20 and 30x30. Look at that. And then, yeah, these outside holes are for the little pieces of carbon that hold the... I don't think it's for an... Is this really not set up for an AIO? This will instantly become my favorite frame ever if it's not set up for an AIO. Stack mounting height 25 millimeters. That's great. That's plenty of height for just anything. Yeah, it looks like they did not set this up for an AIO. Good for you, Axis Flying. Hell yeah. Oh, here we go. Weight 81 grams. Plus or minus 5 grams for the TPU mount. So, yeah, I mean, this is a heavy frame. This is for sure a heavy frame. I would not build this frame with 3-inch props in mind. The weight of this frame really, in my opinion, makes it 3.5-inch specific. The arm thickness is also 4 millimeters. So that's a really beefy, thick arm for a micro frame. Interesting frame. There hasn't been a ton of time spent with the 3.5-inch stuff. So if I were to build this, which I don't think I will, because I have a whole bunch of 3.5-inch frames all stacked up to be built. If I were to build this, I would build this with the X-Nova 1804 motor, and then I would put Emax Avan 3.5-inch props. They're 3.5 by 2.8. Those propellers with those motors would move the weight that this thing is going to be. This is probably going to be over 300 grams all said and done. Yeah, those motors and those propellers would move a 300-ish gram all-up weight build like this really, really nicely. And yeah, that would actually fly really, really good. So yeah, that would be my preferred build path for this. I don't... there is a very slight taper to the arms. Not much of a taper to the arms. I don't love that. I wish the arms were a little bit more beefy here than here. But, you know, can't get it all. It also looks like, and don't quote me on this, but it looks like the stack mounting, well, I can figure it out. Hold on. Before I go throwing shade, let me make sure that I'm not talking shit. So that's how the arm sits in there, and then this sits here. So alright, so the stack mount bolts are not isolated from the arms, but they are cradled in this big old beautiful custom cut piece of aluminum. So in theory, that won't make too much of a difference. I don't know if it ever really made too much of a difference. It definitely kind of makes sense that not having your stack, not having the screws that go up into your stack connected to the arms in any way is going to help. But man, I don't know. I really just don't know. As long as you get those screws mounted to the carbon really solidly, I think there's a good chance that it doesn't make a difference. Yeah, I don't know. This seems like a pretty cool frame though. If you like the styling or whatever this frame, or I mean, Axis just makes good stuff. Axis was formed from some folks that left T-Motor, and T-Motor makes good stuff as well. Yeah, I would, if you were asking me like if I think this frame is good enough to get, I would give it a thumbs up. It seems to be. That's just based on like a quick look at it. You know, I've not talked to anyone who's built this or flown this or whatever. Looks like these also give you a little battery pad. That's kind of cool. Yeah, but this seems like a little bit of a winner, if I'm honest. This would be a cool build if I had the time. But I do not, so this will be a giveaway item at some point. All right, there's the sub 250 boxes. Balls! I missed a little bag of screws. Throw this in here real quick, and then we'll move on to the 5-inch boxes. Rabble Rotorworks says setting up ELRS back magic. I don't know what back magic is, but good luck setting up ELRS. It is kind of a pain in the ass. You'll get it though. There's plenty of content on YouTube to walk you through it and troubleshoot it. Jesse Garcia is doing some SMD work on an AIO that has a blown 5-volt regulator and a shorted capacitor. It was the last capacitor on the board that was bad. Of course it was. Bob Noxious says, Manta has a weak spot in front of the aluminum piece on the 5-inch. That's where mine broke. Interesting. Maybe Bob will throw a picture up on the Discord channel because he is an OG patron with full access to all of the Discord channel. And he gets that by being a patron, which only costs $3 a month. Bob is on a much higher tier than that because he's a super supporter. But yeah, for $3 whole a month, you can get full access to my Discord channel filled with awesome people providing awesome tech and just, you know, general goodness here in the world. Jesse Garcia says, does that frame have 20x20 mount for a Vista in the back? It certainly does. Andrew Duncan says, oh my god, just built a 2.5-inch GEP RC Phantom with 1202.5 RC in power, 11,500 2S, cracked out. Oh my god, so much power. Perfect backyard ripper, blown away with this build. Very cool, Andrew. I wouldn't think that 1202.5 would be able to control a 2.5-inch prop unless maybe it's like a 2.5-inch bi-blade prop. So yeah, if you're on a bi-blade prop, I would stay there because yeah, in my experience, 1202.5 just isn't quite enough stator volume for the 2.5-inch tri-blade options. There's an amazing Emax Avan Rush 2.5. You're gonna want like a 1404 or even a 1504 for the tri-blade options. What the hell is going on with this? Why can't I get this to tuck in here? There we go. User error. That's how. Blinda Binda says, why do you flip the boxes inside out? Because you can then Sharpie onto them. And I use these boxes for organization. I have these boxes labeled with flight controller, ESC, VTX, receiver, and then they all line up really nicely next to each other on your shelf, and you can just grab the box with all your extra ESCs, and away you shall go. Alright, let's dig into the 5-inch boxes. I don't know which one this is, but it's got hair all over it, so that's a good sign. Is it? This is the March box. Yeah, this is the March box. We've got a bigger Back to the Future sticker sheet in this one, as usual. As I always say, whoever the hell's doing their designs is a goddamn ninja, because these are very cool, as usual. This has the discount code, which I can't show you because you might not be a subscriber. We've got some bright ass yellow propellers. These are 5 by, oh, very cool. These are the V2Ss. I actually really like this prop. I think this is my favorite. HQ propeller. So this is a 5 by 4.3 by 3, of course, tri-blade. V2S. This is the successor to the old school 5 by 4.3 V1S, which was like the prop to have for a long time. Keep forgetting to switch that scene back. Let me weigh this prop, because this is the HQ prop that, in my opinion, is the closest to the Gemfan 5143.3. The Gemfan 5143.3 is kind of like the freestyle prop right now. If we could only pick one freestyle prop, it would kind of be that one. It's got the best mix of durability, flight performance, lightweight, all that stuff. This V2S is 3.8 grams. I think that's pretty much exactly what the 5143.3s are, but let's take a quick look. And then I'm going to show you guys what I mean about the profile of the blade itself. Yep, 3.8 grams. So yeah, if you're an HQ diehard, and you want like the do everything freestyle prop, it's going to be this V2S, in my opinion. Most of HQ props are very fragile nowadays because they're designed to be super lightweight. This V2S, much like the 5143, is not, a no holds barred performance over everything kind of propeller. So take a look at the profile of this blade. All right, so this is the HQ prop. Very simple. Almost a bullnose design out here at the end. Bullnose props are not efficient at all. And then just a very, absolutely completely straight part of the airfoil here. And then a little bit of a curve there, right? So like very basic, like when you look at propellers from like 4, 5, 6 years ago, they have a very similar blade profile to them. And most HQ props are like this, and you can literally hear it in the air. Like in the air, they sound kind of raspy and grumbly, and that's turbulence. That's there's not a whole lot going on the blade profile to try to keep the air nice and smooth between the high and the low pressure zones. Whereas most Gemfan props have a lot more going on. They've got a lot more going on here on the trailing edge. A nice big bump here. One of the theories behind this is that in close to the hub, it's covering less distance, so you want to beef it up and you want to have a little bit more blade here to take advantage of making a little bit more thrust on the inside here. And then the other big thing that always jumps out at me is that Gemfan just puts a little bit more time and effort into the tip of the propeller. And the tip of the propeller is where most of the turbulence is created. So yeah, this 5143.3 will more than likely make more thrust and be more efficient just because it's got a more sophisticated airfoil design. When you look at propellers from 3, 4, 5 years ago, they don't look like this. This is a prop that has been shaped and designed through feedback and a bunch of effort being put in by Gemfan, and I've had a lot of. I was an HQ prop person for a long time, and then when I started to fly Gemfan props, I definitely saw more thrust and more efficiency. So yeah, but you use whatever you want. They weigh exactly the same. This is a little bit. Can you actually see that it's more pitchy? No, you can't see that it's more pitchy. The pitch numbers are kind of wacky, but technically speaking, This is a 43 pitch, I think, unless they're doing the same thing as everybody else and marking the pitch as one number and then the actual pitch is a different number. This is called 5143, but the pitch on this is actually 36, but it performs like a 43 pitch. Yeah, I don't know. Both great propellers. I definitely prefer the Gemfan, not because I'm sponsored by them, but because they fly better. But yeah, both really good props. Let me put this 5143 back in here real quick. If I was going to fly an HQ prop, it would be this V2S for absolute certain, like no questions asked. And I am going to do a, I am going to start doing propeller reviews again, and I'm looking forward to comparing these 5143s to the, I'm sorry, these V2Ss rather, to the 5143s. I'll bet you that I can barely tell a difference. The difference that I'll be able to tell will be in sound. I probably won't fly enough batteries to tell a difference in flight time. But like I said, the sound, I know it seems like a very weird thing to say, but the sound that a propeller makes has an awful lot to do with how efficient it is. There are certain props, like T-motor props are a good example of this. When you put them up in the air, they just, also the Emax Avan props, they just have like a, like you can just hear how aerodynamic the blades are, and then yeah, you'll get more runtime out of them. With the Emax props, unfortunately, they tend to be kind of not weak, but just not as strong. Hold on, it is hot as balls in here. Let me get a let me get the fan on real quick. I think I turned the air conditioning off in the apartment. Yep. Alright, that should be way better. A fan and the air conditioner, what could go wrong? Blinda Binda says, oh, we got that. Bob Noxious says, posted the pic on live stream in Discord, very cool. Andrew Duncan says, I'm using the Gemfan Flash 2.5-inch tri-blade. It is an absolute animal, and yes, Bob Noxious, this thing is fun. I get 6 minutes of full freestyle, 8 minutes of just cruising. Jesus, that's a lot of runtime. I always shoot for like 3 to 4 minutes, because you'll get better performance, you can run a lighter battery. But to each his or her own, of course. Gemfan Flash 2.5-inch tri-blade. Gemfan 2.5-inch tri-blade. Can't think of what pitch that propeller is at the moment. But if you like it, it's all that matters, brother. Alright. Next up in this box, oh, very cool. The Gemfan Prop Locket. This is an awesome little tool that I've shown here on the live stream before. Admittedly, there's limited use to this tool. Basically, this tool is specifically for 1.6-inch Gemfan propellers. Other than that, there's not really much. I guess you could use this on the 2-inch props, but usually with the 2-inch props, you don't have problems removing them. But yeah, this is a really cool tool. If you have an issue with, so with the 1.6-inch props, those are the props for the 75mm tiny whoops. With those props, they have a tendency to be really hard to remove from the motor, and this completely eliminates that issue. And it's just a super slick little design. The 1.2-inch propellers that are on the 65mm tiny whoops, those don't have the T-mount screw holes needed for this thing to dig into. So yeah, this is, if you're into 75mm whoops and Gemfan propellers, this is kind of a must-have. Other than that, I don't know what you're going to use it on, but yeah, it sits down on the propeller just like that, and then you tighten it up, and it just it pushes down on the motor shaft and it pulls up on the propeller. So you're not gonna pull the slip the shaft. Yeah, this is a cool little tool. I think Pyrodrone has these in stock. I already have one, so this is going into the giveaways for one of you lucky bastards to win. Tom Kayak with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Tom. He says, hope things are going well. Appreciate your efforts. Much appreciated supporting the madness, Tom. Things are going really well. Andrew Duncan says, attempted to build a 7-inch Source 1 Bob. I'll have to take a recording, email it to you. I think I'd be absolutely... I think I'd be absolutely shocked at this build. I gotta be honest, Andrew. There's kind of nothing that shocks me at this point. Like, I've just been in the game way too long. I've seen so many builds. So many people have done builds that, you know, they say are the greatest thing in the world, and they send me a video. I'm like, okay, yeah, it flies like a quad. So yeah, fair warning. Like, nothing really impresses me anymore. Also, like, you know, I can, if you tell me an all-up weight, a motor, and a propeller combination, I've probably built exactly that. So I tend to have a really good feel for how stuff flies. Again, just because I've been doing this forever, you know, like 4 years ago I was at Quad Camp, and a million people were like, God, fly my micro. Like every time I go anywhere, it's like fly my micro. And then I've built tons of them. So yeah, it's pretty rare that there's a prop all up weight motor combo that I haven't personally flown. And I mean, the other thing is, like, they all kind of fly the same once you get it right. Like, once you get the all up weight, the ratio of all up weight to stator volume to propeller correct, they, like, the lighter, like, when the all up weight is different, they fly differently, but that's kind of it. It's either overpropped or underpropped. It's either heavy or it's light. So yeah, I wish that there was a magic combo that I could build, or that you guys could maybe stumble upon, and it would be the best flying rig ever. But that's just, believe me, I've tried. It just doesn't happen. There are, with every single build, there's a whole list of, like, priorities, and then there's a whole list of things that they do well, things that they don't do so well. And, like, a lot of times what will happen is somebody will build a rig and they'll be like, oh my God, this is the best rig ever. It's got the best power to weight ratio in the entire world. And, like, so for that specific person, power to weight ratio is the absolute top of their list of priorities as to, like, how a build flies. So yeah, for them, having a rig with 1,000 grams of thrust that only weighs 50 grams, that could be the greatest flying rig in the entire world for them. For me, I would hate that. Like, that would be one of the worst flying rigs for me. So yeah, unfortunately, like I said, nothing really shocks me anymore. I've just been around too long. But again, like I said before, if you guys love the way that one of your rigs fly, I love that for you. Like, that's amazing. Everybody has their own very specific list of priorities. What the hell happened over there? When did these lights turn blue? The lava lamp is not on. You guys are slipping. When did these lights turn blue, and why did only some of these lights turn blue? What is happening? Is there a ghost in here? Hold on. There we go. That was weird. That was very weird. Now, why is that light on over there? Why is that on? What is happening? I'm scared. Okay. There we go. Strange. Obnoxious is going to shock you. Athix says 8 25mm motors on 7-inch props. LOL. What's that for, a long range rig? The 25mm motors are not nearly enough for the 7-inch props unless it's a long-range rig, but I don't know why you would do an 8-motored long-range rig. That's interesting. Andrew Duncan says, it weighs 110 grams with a 672S. I got this one right, LOL. It was so good, my buddy who's way better than me bought one on the spot. Very, very cool. Maybe it is the best flying rig ever. You never know. It could be. But in my experience, it's just such a subjective thing. Bob Noxious says, build specific to his needs and experiences. Am I right? Very much so. Yeah, that's what I love doing through Fiverr for the build planning. I really love the challenge of asking you a whole bunch of like very specific questions and taking your answers to those questions and developing a power plant, a frame, all the things that go into building a custom spec'd out quad that's going to perform perfectly for your exact intended use. That's what I've been doing forever, really. Like that's been the engineering challenge that has just, I just love it. I just absolutely love it. I absolutely love refining the recipe for these rigs to make it either have a little bit better flight performance or a little bit more runtime or be a little bit more durable. Yeah, it just fascinates me. And I would love to help you guys do that. It's a long path trying to do that on your own because you have to buy a ton of shit. You have to break a ton of shit to figure out what's durable. You have to light a ton of shit on fire because you're going to buy bad components along the way. So yeah, there's a lot that goes into that path. I would love to, I love the opportunity to work one-on-one with folks to help them through that so that they don't have to make the mistakes that I made, spend the amount of money that I made, put in the amount of frustration that I had to put in, stuff like that. Avix says, I love all my rigs for the individual characteristics. Hell yeah, it's a good way to look at it. Bob Noxious says, like right then they changed the color. What color? Seamus Clancy says, didn't you move? Not yet. I move at the end of July. My lease is up here at the end of July, I should say. All right, cool. Sometimes it's worth it. Hell yeah, Andrew. Back to the FPV crates. We've got some more Flash Hobby motors. What are these? These are 2207 and a half 1750 kV. 2207 and a half. Good lord, that is a lot of stator volume, and it looks it. This is a big, beefy mother. Look at this. Again, it's that cool olive drab green color. And there it is. Look how tall that is. Jesus Christ. There's a lot of motor, yo. This is going to be a really powerful motor. Too much for me. I prefer nice lightweight 2306s that have less power so that I have more throttle resolution and so that the rig is lighter weight. But if you like hanging around up in the clouds, this is going to be a good motor for that. These are going to make a hideous amount of power. Or if you have a really fat rig, if you're flying like 650 plus gram all up weight 5-inch rigs, these motors are going to be a good match for that. But that ain't me. But if it is you, there's nothing wrong with that. There are plenty of motors that are going to get the job done for you. T-shirt time. Let's see what it is. Looks, it says back to the bando, maybe? It's upside down. That's the back of it. There we go! Back to the bando. That's pretty slick. Going with that Back to the Future vibe. We got a quad that's shooting lightning with Doc standing there with an old school. What's the transmitter that he's got in Back to the Future? You think it's a Futaba? I bet you it's a Futaba. Very cool T-shirt. Andrew Duncan super chatted $5. He says, "You're the man." Thank you very much, Andrew, for the support of what is absolute madness. Very cool T-shirt. So that's the March 5-inch crate. I even turn the I turn the 5-inch boxes inside out as well. But they're harder to do, so I'm gonna do. It was a Futaba, right? I think. I'm gonna do that while you guys aren't watching, so that I don't have to curse and scream live on the internet. Although, you know, some people show up for that. All right, this is actually this is a February crate. I did these a little bit out of order, but that's okay. So we've got the bigger sticker sheet with the same stickers that I showed you a little bit ago. And we've got some propellers. What do we got here? We got some jade green Gemfan Hurricane Minchan Kim 5146 V2s. These are the newest, hottest racing props. If you're into racing, you probably already know about these. Yeah, this is also the V2 of Joshua's preferred propeller. So again, if you're flying a heavier rig, 650 plus grams, this is probably a really good propeller for it. I'm going to be playing around with these propellers, the 5147, slightly more pitchy versions of these, on the Razorback 100-mile-an-hour rig, because this is a lot of pitch and it's a nice lightweight propeller. So yeah, these are an interesting prop, and I can't wait to play around a little bit more with them because I haven't really flown those higher pitch Gemfans much. Look at this. I actually really need this. This is like really good timing. This is a box of shrimp wrap. And look, it's crazy. You guys aren't even gonna believe this. I told you. I told you that it was a real thing. It actually, the light caught it funny a second ago, but it actually says on there that it's shrimp wrap. See that? I did not write that. That was written there by the manufacturer. So yeah, it is actually called shrimp wrap. I told you guys. Nobody fucking believed me. Everybody called me a lying sack of ass. There's your proof. That is definitely not my handwriting. This is great. I am almost out of shrimp wrap. And let me just take a quick look at this to see what 328 pieces of they misprinted it in here. It says heat shrink in here. That's just a misprint. They typed an NK instead of an MP. 328 pieces of heat shrimp. 1 by 40 millimeters, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, I don't know. This is good stuff. All clear and black. I always use the clear so that I can see what's going on underneath it. Very cool. This is a super handy kit to have on hand. We've got an ESC. This is a BS 40 amp ESC 4-in-1 D-Shot 600 BLLES. I'm assuming this is JHE-MCU. I'm not going to open this up because this is going to end up going into a giveaway. I'm pretty diehard on Acon and T-motor, which is Acon. But I'm going to assume that this is a JHE-MCU. See, there's a whole bunch of capacitors there. That's how many capacitors I want to see. I actually want to see even more than that. But what I can tell you about this ESC is that the pads have good separation. They're all the way out on the edge. I don't see pads for if the plug header rips off, which is kind of a shame. That's pretty out of the norm to do that, though. Pretty standard little 40 amp ESC. Yeah, nothing super insane, but always great to. And of course, it comes with a little capacitor. So we're gonna move on. Nothing to see here. Nothing super insane to see here. J Drone says, thanks for your advice on getting 2004 motors for my 3.5-inch to 4-inch Session 5 carrier instead of 1804s. I got the Brother Hobby 2005 because they're M5, not T-mount, and it rips. You got it, Jay. Yeah, that is the right choice there for sure. Michael D says the remote dock used in Back to the Future was a Futaba PCM FP T8 SGA-P. Nice, Michael. Was that a Google search, or did you actually know that offhand? J Drone says, where do you get black shrimp carcasses from, dude? you have to dye the shrimp. They put them in a big pool, and then they put black RIT dye in, and then all the shrimp turn black, and then they can get their exoskeletons off for us to then use to isolate wires. It says it was Futaba 72 megahertz FM radio. Good lord, good lord. I meant to say there's a shirt. Look at it. That's the shirt. What's it say? Oh, very cool. Ooh, I'm into that. 533 design. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna keep this. A lot of these shirts. Hey, where's all my skinny fucks at? Who wears medium shirts? I have medium shirts that I want to move along before my move at the end of July. So if you wear medium shirts, message me somewhere at CiottiFPV. Facebook, Instagram are the two that I use the most. Yeah, I'll send you some shirts for basically shipping. But this one I'm keeping. That's a cool logo, and Evan Turner is a great person. So that shirt is all mine. Nobody gets to have that shirt. Not you, not you, not you, not you, not you. Last and most current 5-inch crate with different colors. Look at that. That's pretty cool. So this is the May box, I guess it would be. Although on here it says nothing. It doesn't say a month on here, but I think this is the May box. Bigger version of that really cool Johnny FPV artwork. That's fun. And we got some propellers. We've got some HQ R35 propellers. Yo, a lot of people at Rampage were running these R35 propellers on freestyle rigs, which is not the first time that I've heard that. I heard that a while ago, and I just haven't. I have a bunch of these, and I just haven't had a chance to get them going. Man, it is so much nicer in here. It cooled down really nice. So yeah, this is pretty slick. I'm excited to try these for freestyle duty. That's right, I said duty. So yeah, let me just. I always take 3 bags of propellers and put them into one. Makes me feel like I'm saving plastic, but the plastic has actually already been wasted. Oh, that's not true, because then I then use the empty bags for things. So I'm reusing, which is the second of the 3 R's. You guys remember that from school, the 3 R's? Very cool, R35s. I'm looking forward to getting them up in the air and seeing what's going on with them. Why so many people are excited about them in a freestyle setting. What else we got here? Ooh, we got some T-motor stuff. V45 amp light 6S 4-in-1 BL Heli S ESC. Let's crack this guy open and take a look at it. Very cool. I wonder if so here's a thing that I don't know the answer to. I wonder if so T-motor has this line of Velox electronics that are a little bit less expensive than their like regular stuff, I guess we could say. I wonder if these Velox electronics are or aren't made by Acon. Acon seems to only really make top shelf stuff. So yeah, the less expensive T-motor electronics might not be made by Acon. This is a strange shape. Very... Usually 30 by 30 stuff is not like a rectangle like this. Usually it's just a square, and they can fit plenty of stuff in the square. Doesn't really matter, but just be careful with this. This might not fit on all builds. Motor pads here, holes for a capacitor. Oh man, they really spaced the motor pads out. They've got 1, 2, and then the third one on the other side of the 30 by 30 hole. That's kind of wild. I don't think I've ever seen that before on a 30 by 30 build. Man, is that going to make not bridging your motor pads extremely simple, though. And they've got the pad. They've got all the pads double-sided. That's pretty cool. I like when they double-side these because then, if on your specific build it makes sense to mount this thing upside down or right side up, it kind of doesn't matter. Certain builds, so like the tallest part of most components is the plug headers, and in some cases, if you put the plug header facing downwards, you can use a little bit of extra space that you might have. So that's pretty cool. A nice line of capacitors here. Not a lot of them. I usually like to see more capacitors than this, especially on a big-ass 30x30 board like this. But usually the 30x30 boards are kind of big and beefy enough to not have major electrical noise issues anyway. So yeah, an interesting ESC here from T-Motor. 45 amp light. It's interesting that they call it light. It does seem like it is a little bit lighter weight. That's cool. I don't actually know if I'm going to keep that or give it away. Probably give it away because I have a lot of Acon and T-Motor electronics waiting to be run already. We've got a oh god! Before the T-shirt, we've got a tool, and it's a very cool tool. This is one of these multi-tools with all of the stuff built into it. So we're gonna pull the little back cap off here, and we've got a bunch of stuff on the inside. So we've got an M1.5, M2, M2.5, and that might even be an M3. Yeah, 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3. I don't know what you're ever going to use the M3 for, but it's there. And then we've got a nice machined aluminum, I assume. It feels pretty light. This is a great little tool. I have the stupidly expensive RDQ version of this from a long time ago, and my god, is it nice to have in your flight bag. This is magnetic, which is great. Not a super strong magnet, but plenty strong. This is really nice right here. What's really nice about this is how small it is. Nice and compact. This will fit in like any bag, and it's not all stabby. Yeah, I am keeping this. This is great to have. This is going to go in a second bag for me. And we've got a T-shirt. And I assume, yep, it's a Johnny FPV T-shirt. Let's see. Reed says, strange, that's exactly what I thought. In regards to what, Reed? That was at 421? Was that talking about the ESC? Athix says that ESC looks like a Mamba F40. Interesting. Johnny FPV shirt, that's pretty cool. Lifter on the front. That's pretty slick. I don't know if I'm going to keep this one or not. I might keep this one. Why does it got bi-blades on it? What's with the bi-blades? That's a little weird. Is that a thing? Are we running bi-blades on these lifters? I wouldn't think so. Cool T-shirt. Nice black, simple shirt with a lifter on it. Nothing wrong with that. I think I'm going to keep this shirt, to be honest, because it's got a lifter on it. We'll see. Think about it. There's 3 months of Get FPV, FPVCrate boxes for you. And that just made a noise that I did not like. Strange shape. Got it. Yeah, strange shape. Let's look at the Mamba F40 and let's compare it. I'm intrigued. Nah, totally different than the Mamba. Oh, what's this one? There's another one. Ooh, interesting. Let's see here. Oh, god damn it. Here we go. Ooh. You guys might be onto something. Let's see. Yeah, man, that would not surprise me if Diatone was their manufacturer for the Velox stuff. That would not surprise me at all. So it's definitely not identical. The shape of the pads is a little bit different, but that doesn't really mean much. Nah, this is totally different. Totally different. Yeah, it's not. I mean, maybe they. Nah, totally different. There's yeah, no, there's nothing in common between these two. Where's the shunt? There it is. Where's the... There's no back on here either. There's a big juicy BEC on this thing. No, there's not. I don't know what the hell that chip is then. Yeah, it ain't that one though. I wonder who it is. It could be Acon for all I know. It's probably good though. T-Motor Electronics. I've yet to really hear anything bad about them. Although I haven't really heard anything about the Velox Electronics. So whether or not the Velox stuff is good, I just have no idea. Dusty Joe says, "You getting Bob's new motors?" Yeah, I'm eagerly. Well, so I have a set of the 25s on the high-speed rig here with the two-piece bells. The replacement bells that are one piece are on their way. They haven't arrived yet. I was talking to Bob last night about it. So I'm going to snag a set of those to just put onto those motors just for peace of mind. And then the 2104 3500 kV motors that he made for us are on the way as well. So I'm going to be doing a big-ass FPV cycle loader at some point. Because I'm going to get enough of those 2104s to put on all of the Cinewhoops so that they're all on the same motors. And then, yeah, a bunch of those bells. And I'm even thinking about snagging a set of the 16mm motors. I saw Insta360 Go 2 footage from someone that had 16mm motors on a rig, and there was not jello, which I am intrigued at, because those are apparently very notchy motors, and I have tried so many different notchy motors, and they've all given me major jello issues. So I don't know if that person just had like a really good jello isolate. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm intrigued by those 16mm motors. I've always been, but the fact that they've been, you know, it's been. Here's where it is. Here's where I'm at with it. It's been probably about 2 years since I ran a notchy motor and tried to get it to tune well and or not have jello. It's about time for me to torture myself again and just whenever I like am working on a theory and then I take that theory to the point where I think it's pretty much true, I'm always careful to like not just be open-minded about that to some extent. Like I'll fight pretty hard because like I don't just make this shit up. You know, there's usually a lot that goes on behind the scenes, a lot of time, a lot of effort. But I try to stay open-minded enough where, especially if I see somebody else that's been able to do it, I'm just like, oh, well, that makes sense. I'm a garbage person anyway. So, yeah, it's about time for me to, you know, slam my dick in a car door again and waste a bunch more time trying to get notchy motors to work properly. Maybe it's fine. Maybe you know, I'm not infallible. I'm not a super smart person. I experiment, I test a lot, and I come to conclusions from those. But I ain't perfect. So I like to retest stuff every so often, which is admittedly pretty annoying. Because it's typically a waste of time, and time is the one thing that I really am having a hard time finding. So it's tough to kind of go back, but yeah, I don't know. It's I don't know. Who the hell knows? Athix says, Bob has some interesting ideas, I will say. Dusty Joe says, got the 16s and scaled them down to 80%. I dig them. Athix says, I will say Bob is pushing motor theory, and I'm excited. Yeah, Bob does some really interesting testing and prototyping and whatnot, and yeah, he's changed a lot of things in FPV. It's great. We're very lucky to have somebody who is not into FPV to make money, but is willing to make a ton of products. Like that's incredibly rare, and we're very lucky to have him. So yeah, I support him as much as I can. His stuff is great. All right. What else is going on? Chat, what questions do you guys have? I don't know what else I really have. This is going to be a backup rig tomorrow. But I broke the I broke one of those Stan FPV ducts, and I don't have a replacement. So I could leave it ductless. I do have a set of the 3D printed V3 FPV cycle ducts, but man, are they fragile. They fly good, but they're super fragile. I should probably just throw those on here. But I just don't know. I've got the Toothfairy, and I've got the analog Cinesplore, and that should be fine. But it would be kind of cool to have a ductless Cinewoop with me, because they cover a lot of ground and they're not as angry as a 5-inch rig. So I'm kind of thinking about leaving this as is, or maybe throwing 3.5-inch props onto this. Because a Cinesplore with no ducts like this will clear 3.5-inch props, and my god, the 3.5-inch props are awesome. They're a lot louder than these 5 blades, but I don't think volume will be much of a concern tomorrow. So yeah, I don't know what to do to this. I had to swap out the antenna on this, and I mean now it's good to go again. I have 2 rigs with ducts. There's no real way that I'm gonna break 2 ducted rigs. So yeah, let's get the 3.5-inch props on here. This also has a 30-degree camera mount on it. Is that 30? That looks like 20. Yeah, it's actually a 20-degree camera mount on it. And so yeah, having this be a faster setup might be kind of nice. So I'm gonna do that. That's one of the other things I really love about the Cinesplore, is that you can take the ducts off and fly it like a 3-inch rig or a 3.5-inch rig, and that's really a big deal. Like this Cinesplore saved me at that live flying gig. My first like 5 or 10 batteries of the day were with ducts on, and there was so much wind that like I wouldn't have been able to fly. Like there was pretty much nothing that I could do. But because of the way that the Cinesplore is designed, you can just pop the ducts right off, and when I did that's what actually allowed me to slide around in the wind enough to actually fly that gig. And yeah, that made all the difference in the world. So that was great. Huge thumbs up to the Cinesplore frame. And if you were over on Joshua's live stream and you heard him talking about the Cinewoop section coming to his website, fpvknowitall.com, he asked me to do a ultimate Cinesplore build, and it's basically this, for good reason. Yeah, I mean the Cinesplore was one of the last Cinewoop frames to come out, so it benefited from the most possible R&D, and it really shows. It fixes a lot of problems that exist in other Cinesplore, in other Cinewoops, and it's just like a frame design that's very obviously been like developed. Like the thickness of the base plate is just thin enough, but just thick enough. There's the perfect amount of room inside to get everything that you need to get in there. It's the lightest weight of the frames. It uses better ducts than anybody else. The way that the ducts mount is the right way to mount ducts. It's just, yeah, it's the one that you want for sure. All right. Dusty Joe says, got the 16s and skill. Oh, we got that. Dusty Joe also says, will a diversity Crossfire really affect my range that much? Flying a 7-inch, not going too far. It depends on antenna placement, Dusty Joe. It's the diversity Crossfire is not necessarily for extra range, although you could argue that it is. In my opinion, it's more for. So if you put a single Immortal T straight up at like a 30-degree angle, so that when you're flying 30 degrees nose down, the Immortal T is sticking up nice and tall, right? And then if you go out and you just fly around, you just cruise around like this, right, like an RC car, you're gonna pretty much get maximum range. But if you then go out there and instead of just flying around like this, you start doing this and this and that and this and that and this and that, there are orientations. So pretend like this video antenna here is your Immortal T mounted up at a 30 degree angle, right? If you turn the rig like this, you can't see that antenna. That antenna is now behind the GoPro and the battery, and that's no good. So if you've got a diversity Crossfire with another antenna, like let's say on the front, mounted left to right, when you do that and you turn back to yourself because you're flipping all around or whatever, you're going to have full signal from that front antenna. So to me, the diversity Crossfire thing is more about, just having a second antenna for when you put the thing into really weird situations. Although now that I like really think about that, like, yeah, when you turn back, even if you've got that Immortal T sticking way the hell up here, if you flatten out to come home, you're gonna bury some of that Immortal T behind this stuff, and that's not good. So, yeah, I mean, if I was gonna do hardcore long range, I feel like a diversity Crossfire would be an awful good idea. And then it allows you to do a really simple antenna setup of an Immortal T low on the front and then another Immortal T low on the back. You'll get way better range by doing one of them vertical, like we were just talking about, and then another one either on the front or in the back. I think having one in the front is a really good idea, because then as soon as you're coming home, you've got a full unobstructed Immortal T just right in front of your face. So I think it makes an awful lot of sense to do a diversity Crossfire and throw one antenna on the front here with these nice and simple little TPU standoff jib jabs, and then yeah, when you come home, you're gonna have maximum possible signal, and then when you're out there flipping and flopping around, you know, this antenna will get used a bunch, but having another one nice and vertical is a really nice thing. Is a wise choice. I gotta get some more of the Stan FPV ducts, and I gotta try to mount these taller brass collars in them to see if that'll make them more durable. Although I'm probably never gonna do any more another durability test with those. But I was gonna roll over here and grab. Oh yeah, propellers. So let me show you guys something. Let me show you guys the only problem with the Emax Avan 3.5-inch props. So this, the only thing that I don't like about this Newbie Drone 2004 motor is how flat the top of the bell is. See, like the mounting pad there is almost completely flat with the rest of the top of the bell. I really prefer the folks that round the top off a little bit. This is the T-motor 2004, and it's not rounded off by a lot, but it is rounded off a little bit there on the top, and I'm going to show you why that makes a difference. These and many of the Emax Avan props, they put a bunch of the blade down below the mounting pad. See how the blade swoops down below the mounting pad? See that? So on these Newbie Drone 2004s, I'll betcha these props won't work. Oh man, it is close. Close, but no cigarette. So it is going to be tough for me to show you guys, but see the little gap? So this prop is pushed all the way down. Hold on, I got to do manual focus real quick here. Is this the right program? Camera settings, is that the one? Yeah, this is the one. I want to go advanced, and I want to go... Nope. What the fuck? Logitech, are you... I can't adjust the goddamn... I hate you, Logitech. I'm gonna murder your fucking family. So now you can't control the focus. You can't do... Wow. Wow, what a bunch of assholes. Okay. So... See the gap there? I know it's hard to see, but you gotta just blame Logitech. They should be attacked by wild bears. Yeah, you can see the swoopy down bit of the prop is hitting the corner of the top of the bell there, right? And I mean, technically you could just crank these screws down, but that's not good. You don't want to do that. So I can't run these. I can't run these on those motors. But look at this T-motor 2004. I think it'll clear on this guy. Hold on, let me look at it first. Yep, yeah, just barely. But on this one, it clears. See, there's no gap in between the base of the motor. And like, you know, the tip of the prop is real close, but it just barely clears enough to where, yeah, you can get the base of the propeller down flat against the... So that's one of the reasons that these are my preferred motor in the FPV Know-It-All Ultimate Cinesplore Cinewhoop build. These are great. These Newbie Drone motors are great, but yeah, the inability to run them, like this sucks that I can't run these props on this rig right now. Like this prop is a better. Yeah, is better than the Gemfan for this big of a motor. But the Gemfans will be totally fine. And I put them over here. Wow, Logitech, I hope you just perish in a very painful way. Oh, and now the goddamn thing has gone to 4x3. That's even more insane. What are you doing? Okay. Wow, nothing like a company just taking functionality away from you. Although, wait, there it is. Autofocus. What the hell? That wasn't there a minute ago. This is ridiculous. Yeah. All right, friends. A couple more questions, and then we will wrap this up. I'm going to throw these... hey, I can show you the magical way to not curse Gemfan and smash your fingers all up with these little inserts. These little inserts are directional. One side of them is a little bit rounded off, and the other side is not rounded off. They've made that a little bit more drastic to the point where more often than not, I can just push these things in. Yeah, so this is more of an issue on the older ones. Like these newer ones are, like you just saw, you just pop them right in. If for whatever reason you're having trouble getting these little insert things to work properly, here's the deal. Put it on the shaft. So I'm going to do it the wrong way first. I can see the taper on this. So I'm going to do it the wrong way first. Put it on the shaft of the motor, and then take your propeller and just push it on there. So this isn't going to go because I have it on here the wrong way. So that should be your pacing. Put it on there. If you can't see which, the directionality, that's fine. take the prop, try to push the prop down. If it doesn't go, take it off and flip it upside down. Don't waste a ton of time. Don't get all pissed off. Just quickly pop it off, put it back on in the other direction, line the prop back up, and done. That's it. That's all there is to it. No big deal. Like I said, the new ones, you can very specifically see that they're directional. They've like rounded off one side, which makes it a lot easier to put on. If the props that you're buying have been sitting around for a while, they might not be this more directional design. But even the old school ones were directional. It was harder to see it, but it was there. If you looked really close, it was a directional little insert. And yeah, that should save your that should save the tips of your fingers from a little bit of assault. Remember, put it on the shaft, push the prop on, and you're good to go. Cool? Makes sense? Go forth and never again complain about Gemfan's little inserts. Other than that, like, that's the only thing to really complain about with the Gemfan inserts. They work really well. I've never had one like explode. I've never had any issues with these. And the fact that it allows you to quickly change between M5 mount and T-mount is real cool. It's a really, really good thing. Bob Noxious says, never thought to put it on the motor. I knew about the taper. Thanks. You're certainly welcome, my friend. Yeah, if you looked really carefully, you used to be able to see the taper. You used to be able to just barely see the taper, but yeah, admittedly it was pretty hard to see. But if you just sat there with them, you would certainly notice that like they would go on one way and they wouldn't go on the other way. So like you could figure it out, but you know, we're all men and pretty stubborn, so it's kind of one of those things that like a lot of times the stubbornness would take over and your brain would not kick into like, hey, troubleshoot this, rather than just yelling at it, which is, you know, a constant lesson in being a man. Rabble says, what about a spacer? Yeah, I mean, technically, but the rotating weight is a bad thing, so any kind of a spacer is going to add rotational weight. Plus, like, how do you make the spacer? Do you 3D print it and then you hope that it doesn't like warp because it's made out of TPU? Are you able to 3D print it perfectly centered so that it doesn't add any imbalance or vibration? Yeah, just sort of a little bit of an imperfect situation there, but there are technically ways around it. The one of the things I really like about the FPV Cycle 2104 motors that I'm really excited about is that they are an M3 mount. They're a 3mm single shafty boy, and then they give you a 3mm to 5mm adapter, so you can just run props as M5 mount, but M3 mount. So you do need to get a different wrench. But other than that, that's pretty rad, because these T-mounts, now that we've gotten up to like 2004, even like the 1804s and like the 1606s, they make enough power to pull the bell right off of the 1.5mm shaft, and we're starting to see that. Hell, even the Toka 1505s are starting to run into that issue. And the M3, M5 shaft issue completely fixes that, because you're putting the nut onto the primary motor shaft, so it's pulling on the motor shaft. It's not pulling with T-mount. That's jacked into the bell. It's trying to pull the bell off all the time. Every time you hit the throttle, it's trying to pull the bell off the motor shaft. Typically, it doesn't happen, but we are starting to see it. And it is the kind of thing that I think, like, if you put like 1,000 batteries through a set of T-mount 2004s, I have a feeling that it's eventually gonna yank that bell off of the shaft. So yeah, that is obviously not what you want. So it's a thing. The whole M3 thing definitely fixes that. Shameless FPV says, just got an ELRS module and receivers, haven't done anything yet. Should I put Edge TX on my QX7? I have yet to see any reason to not put Edge TX on. I personally haven't, because it's only a tiny little benefit, and I just haven't had the time. It's not that I haven't had the time. It's that it's low priority. There's not much of a gain in performance for me. So it goes down to the bottom of the priority list. So yeah, it's a good thing to do. Eventually I'll do it for sure. And recommend this full setup guide? No, but just search for ELRS Edge TX here on YouTube, and there's a shitload of content out there. You'll find a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna bring an extra couple of sets of these 3520s. Really weird that HQ did the exact same pitch as Gemfan. That's a wasted opportunity for sure on their part. Usually between those two companies, whoever comes out with a propeller first, 3.5 inch, 4.5 inch, whatever, the other company will do a slightly different pitch, which makes a lot of sense. For them to not do that this time, and Gemfan came out with 3.5s long before HQ. For HQ to just kind of copy and do the exact same pitch is strange. But whatever. What do I know? I just work here. Hillside FPV says, have you seen or spoken to the 3.5 inch prop guards and arms for the Toothfairy? What? Where the hell are those? Is that on FPV? All right, so FPV Cycle's site doesn't work on this computer. Where the hell is that? I'm not aware of such a thing. And the Mac Mini is not on. That's pretty cool. Oh wait, I did see that. You use the non-Cinewoop arms, and then hold on, I think I saw it on Facebook. FPV Cycle. But then it uses a very sketchy looking piece of carbon for the prop guard, which I'm not super cool with. But it'll fly great like that because it won't have a full duct. It'll just be kind of sketchy. There it is. Yeah, so this is super interesting. You use the regular 3-inch arm for the Toothfairy, and then you bolt this piece onto it. Yeah, this will fly great. This will fly almost like it's not ducted, but you can't fly this around people. And I don't even really think you can fly this around like cars and shit, unless they're like beat-ass drift cars. But yeah, like fancy cars, I would not want this to be my only propeller protection. So yeah, very cool concept. I love the concept, and like I said, it'll fly fantastic like this, but very limited, very limited use, right? And if you're gonna have a guard like this, like here's what I don't understand about the whole prop guarded madness that's going on. The only reason to have protection around the propellers is if you're going to be flying around people or expensive things. So then you put that's why the full ducts make a lot of sense. Well, the prop guards, it's like you can't really fly around people because there's such a tiny amount of protection that you're gonna hurt somebody. I guess with a plastic guard, you can fly around expensive things. Although I don't know, the guards are not all that strong. So if you're flying around an expensive car and you hit it, there's a chance the guard is going to move out of the way and you're going to get a prop strike on it anyway and scratch it. So yeah, the whole prop guard thing. I don't get the use. Like I don't get what that would be used for. It absolutely flies way better, but yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't feel like there's much of a use for it. I guess it could just be like a visual kind of thing, right? Like, hey, look, I'm flying this rig that has these guards, so you're safe, and then it's on you to not hit the person and not, you know. I don't know. The ducts make these rigs fly a lot slower and more accurate too. That's the other thing. Like, the only reason to really want to run these guards is if you need to go fast. Well, going fast is not typically flying around people. I don't know. It's interesting. I love the idea in theory, but I've yet to be in a situation where it was like, you know what I need right now? And I've flown a good amount of gigs, so, you know, maybe people are I mean, I know people are way more successful than I am. Maybe they're flying way more gigs than I am, and there's way more opportunities for prop guards and stuff like this. But, yeah, I don't know. It just seems... I don't know, you know, even if it's just, like, for the visual, like, hey, look, it's safe, that's got value. So, yeah, I ain't gonna demonize it for that. But, I don't know, this, I don't see a world where I would ever fly a gig with this. But, man, this would fly good. This would fly as if there's no guard, as if there's no duct. So, all right, friends, it is 4:59. We're going to wrap this one on up. And let me get some flying for you. This is a little bit more of the raw flying from Charlotte. I'll see you guys tomorrow night at 10 o'clock. I don't know where I'll be. If I'm at Maggie's, I'll be doing some tiny whooping. If I'm here, we'll be doing some repair stuff. That'll be no fun at all. That'll be fun for you guys to watch me suffer. Come on. There we go. All right, here's some flying, friends. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow night at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. Be good. Later.